into winter, and my window boxes are all done for the season. So I'm going to cut all that stuff out of there and put some nice evergreen boughs in for the winter so they look really pretty. I'm going to start by taking out the dead plants, and I can do one of two things. I can pull them clear out, soil and all, but I want to leave that soil in there with a little bit of the root structure because then it's easier to anchor in any of the boughs and branches that I have. So I'm just going to cut these off right at the ground. I'm going to take out all those decorative elements I put in there early in the season for fall. And we're going to cut everybody off right at the ground. Now I kind of like this little grass that's in here. I like that little dried color, and I like the way it cascades over the side of the box. So I'm going to leave that in there, and it'll be fine all winter, just like that. So if you've waited a little too long and the temperatures have dropped and you've got a hard freeze and your soil is frozen in your box, try a couple of methods to thaw that out. You can use either some hot water, just pour that right in, and that'll help thaw the soil there. But be careful if you're using hot water with a ceramic pot. You don't want to get it too close to the edge because that change in temperature might cause the pot to crack. The other thing you can do is try just augering holes into the frozen ground or frozen soil, and just put your stems in those augered holes. Or you can try like a heat mat or a germination mat or even an electric blanket and just kind of wrap your pot for just a little while to thaw out that soil so you can work with it. Okay, so I'm ready to load up my window box with some pretty evergreens. And I'm going to start with a structural element. So today I've got some Canaan fir that's going to go in. That's a nice stiff branch, and it'll give you some height in the back, sort of like your thriller for your thriller filler spillers. And you can use all these little pieces. And I like the way this curves just a little bit. And we'll try and send it out sideways and kind of have that little bit of a arching effect going on there. Now, sometimes it's a little hard to get through those roots, but I'm not worried about that. And so I'll start with that basic branch there. Arborvitae is another really good one. Super easy to get off of your hedge. If you've got a hedge of arborvitae, you'll have plenty to work with. And it has that nice cascading round or curved kind of look, so you can use that towards the front, and that can be your spiller. It's also a really good filler. And even if a branch is broken, I'm going to stick that in there anyway. It'll hold up the place. Now I'll do several pieces of arborvitae in the back here. And even those little bits and pieces can get aimed out the front, so you got a little bit of something cascading out the front. And let's put a little bit more in. Now arborvitae will turn a little bit brown as it dries, but I don't mind that. I think it gives it a little different color and texture. And sometimes you'll even get some little cones on there that look pretty in the winter. All right. Next up, I'm going to go with a little bit of white pine. White pine also tends to have a little bit of a curved cascading type of branch. And it's very soft, so it'll sort of droop down the front and look pretty. Got a little combination going there. I'm going to put a little bit more of this fir in here so I can move that same greenery through the arrangement. And it is sort of a floral arrangement in effect. And utilize those curvy bits. You can just, even if the backside shows from a street, it'll still look kind of nice and drapey there. And last I have some concolor fir. I like the color in this. Gives you a little bit different greenery. And we can kind of work that in. Even those little small pieces can go in the front. And all it takes is a couple little branches. If you've got a tree in your yard, concolor fir or arborvitae or even a little fir, you can kind of sneak out a few branches here and there, and no one will know the difference. Okay, so I've gathered up a few fun things, little decorations to put into my window boxes to make them more than just boring green evergreen. So I'm going to start with some sticks. Now, if you grow a red twig dogwood, those are naturally red in the wintertime, and you can just snip off trimmings of those and tuck them into your window box or porch pot. But I've got these that are painted, so that means they're just going to stay good and red all season, and I can use them again next year. I've got some big pine cones, and a couple of ways to use these in your porch pots is you take a wire and slide it through there, give it a twist, and then you just wire it right onto the base of a bamboo stake, or in this case, this is like a little florist stake that you can buy at the craft store. And it doesn't hurt to they might slide off, so tie them on really tight, or you might put a little dab of hot glue just right there where the wire covers. That'll kind of anchor them on just a little bit better. I've got some dried sedum flowers. Dried hydrangea is another thing that works great, and it'll hold up all winter, but these are on nice long stems. If you get them when they're dried, that's a pretty sturdy, stable stem, and you can stick that right in the soil. And I've got a bow, which I've also wired onto a stake, which I might put a little glue on just to make sure that bow stays put. Now, another trick, like if the pine cones or some of the other things you might use, maybe some pods or some nuts or things like that, you can drill a little hole, take your cordless drill, and drill right into the base of that pine cone. And not too far, just a little bit, and you'll get a little teeny hole there. And then we're going to dribble a little hot glue down in that hole. And then we're going to take this one of those stakes and push it right into the puddle of glue, and that'll anchor it on really well, and you can just push right into your porch pot. Okay, I'm going to start with my structural taller elements, and so I'm going to start with these red sticks here, and these look like birch branches. So if you're going to paint some sticks, I would go with birch branches. They're going to be some of the nicer, long-lasting branches. And you can just kind of give it a little height. I also like them that they're not too bulky, so you can still be able to see out the window from the inside, but you'll still see those little branches and get a little view of them from the inside. And I'm going to put the bow in second, because that's kind of my focal point. So I'm going to make sure I got it right in the middle. And we're going to just tuck it right in. I might pull some of the branches through a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to go with some of the bigger cones. And what I like about having them on a long stake is that you can kind of adjust where you want that to go. But I think my stake's a little too long. I'm going to cut that top off. There we go. You can always kind of aim it in sideways as well. And here's my glued one. Go right in the base there. Okay, and then start with some sedums. All done, and I'm festively dressed for the holidays.